Alright, so I've put those hoops on like so. They're both sweeping back. As I said, makes it a little bit more stable. Actually got a little bit more of a better view there as to what I mean with where the axis comes down. If I swept forward from the centre of the axis to where they swept forwards, not very far, so it does make it a little bit more unstable. Next thing you do, grab your skid pipes, you hold your helicopter like so, and you slide that one through there, and then you slide this one down, and I'll just go out of view. And do the same with the other one. And you get the result that you see here. You go through and you measure from the back of this leg backwards on each of them. Make sure they're pretty good. It's not critical, just looks a lot better. Then once you've done that, you come around to the front and you look at your skid pipes and see how they're both pointing up. You do that so that it looks good, or the other way I do it is I put them in on a slight angle to chase that line. It just looks a little bit better. And then you go through and you hit a little bit of CA. The reason I don't use the black plastic rubbers is they give a little bit too much friction on the bitumen or concrete or whatever you want to go off to do stuff like walking the dog and high speed touch and go passes and stuff like that. Makes it slide a lot easier. It's a little bit harder to take off of concrete because it wants to wander a bit, and the rubbers will hold it in place and stop it from doing that. However, that said, you won't be doing walk the dog or anything like that until you're comfortable being able to take off without the rubbers on concrete anyway. So if you're a newbie, I'd recommend putting them on. If you're not, I don't think it really matters. The only thing it is, these wear at the bottom of these hoops do wear through. However, you can just put a bit of zap on it, build it up, bit of kicker, and it's all good again. Or you might have had a smack and you've broken them anyway, so they're not really needed. Alright, next thing you do, you come around and we spin this rotor head. Now if you look at this swash plate, I'll pick the camera, see how you've got one long lug and two short ball links. You've got this long lug on the end of where a ball link goes. That's the one that goes through your auto rotation bearing. Now the reason why I said a plastic one is better than a metal one is it allows you, if you just move that up and spin that swash plate around, it allows you to do something like this. You've got to pull your swash plate up, put your linkage into that space and then down, and then with the plastic one you can bend the auto rotation back, anti-rotation back, and you can slip it in. Now it doesn't move. With a metal one you can't bend it like that. So metal in this case for an anti-rotation bracket gives you absolutely no benefit and is actually more troublesome. Then you go around and you hook all of your linkages onto your servos. Like so. Like that. Do the next one. I also probably wouldn't recommend putting the servo horns on or anything like that until you've got your radio all set up. I've only done it on this one because, as I said, this is my normal flying one. It's still programmed into my radio and everything's all good, and I've still got all the settings. If you put them on now and you haven't already programmed your radio, when it first turns on and initializes, your servo can go to a big amount of travel and either bind the swash plate up or hyperextend it, or you can get all kinds of funky things happening which you don't want to happen. So with your swash mixing and your reversing, get all your servos working the right way and set up your linkages. Now with your linkages, if you look at these linkage rods here, that swash plate is level like that. You probably shouldn't be spinning servos like that, it's not good for them, but these ones are very old, they've had a big life, so they're sort of on their way out and will be getting replaced with some 5065 digitals from Hi-Tech soon. But if you look at these servo connector rods, notice how they're all nice and perpendicular. Everything is square. That's what you want. That's your zero pitch line. When that servo is at horizontal, like so, that linkage rod has to be straight up, vertical, to the swash plate, like so, and it's to be the same with all your other servos as well. If you look from the front, like this, you notice that this rod here is still vertical. Same with this one, and the same on the back one as well. It's got to be vertical. I'll show you how to get all of that and get that all set up in the radio video I'll be doing soon. I'm gonna wait. I'll get another kit from HK. I'll get a HK 450 kit with just some servos. I won't worry about the motor or anything like that. I'll just show you how to go through it and program your radio. I'll only be showing you on a DX7 though, as that's the only radio I own. However, I am looking at either a Futaba 12 FGH or a Hi-Tech Aurora 9 radio. So I might be able to show you the setup on those two radios as well. So basically that's it for this video. We go through and we pull these blade bolts out, which again I'll leave in for storage. That's the wrong driver. I need this one, which I do believe is a 3mm. And we pull that blade bolt out. It's a nylock nut, don't need to use Loctite in it. Alright, now you grab your rotor blades, check them for imperfections and defects and stuff like that, and slip them in. And you slide your bolt down through the top of it once you've got it, the hole aligned. And tension it up, not too much at the moment. Spin it around, grab the other blade, you don't need to be super awesome careful with it. The parts are fairly sort of durable, just don't belt them around too bad. But if you slide a blade along the table, that's fine, it does nothing. Just don't go trying to use the blade as an axe or anything stupid like that. Alright, now, the way you know how much tension you've got, you want to be able to just grab the blade and just spin it. That one there is probably a little bit too loose. I'll move the camera so that we can see. This one here is just a little bit too loose, it's rather easy. And so is that one, so give it a little bit more tension. This is sort of something that you just have to pick up over time, it's just that feel. So you hold the rotor hub and spin that blade. Still needs a little bit more. And a bit more. There we go. Basically the tension you're looking for is that they'll stay where they are and take a bit of force to move, but they're not tight. That's the most important thing, because under flight, once it gets up to the head speed gets up to the right range, they actually straighten by themselves and pull themselves straight. So you want them to be able to move, but you don't want them to be able to slop, because otherwise under severe pitch changing they can actually slide back or forwards depending on how you've got it set up. So not too loose, but not too tight that they can't move. Alright, and basically that'll conclude the video. Next step you have to do, this will be covered in the electronics video. You just slide this tail rod back, hook it onto that ball link, onto the tail box. You don't really need ball link pliers, it just makes it a lot easier, especially for getting it off. And then you do the same thing onto your servo horn once it's all set up, and that's it. You're done. You've built yourself a 450 sized helicopter. Alright, too easy.